Eating meats offered to idols. Let's read Romans 14, verse 1 through 3. As for the one who is weak in faith, welcome him, but not to quarrel over opinions. One person believes he may eat anything, while the weak person eats only vegetables. Let not the one who eats despise the one who abstains, and let not the one who abstains pass judgment on the one who eats, for Elohim has welcomed him. Now, within the Sunday Christian Church, these verses are interpreted in this way. Those who are trying to keep the dietary laws are considered weak in the faith, while those who can eat anything, including pork or shrimp, are seen as strong in the faith. Lastly, they teach that keeping the law is simply a matter of one's own personal opinion. Thus, to teach it is to be judgmental or divisive, and they discourage it from being taught or practiced in the churches. But I believe Sunday Christianity totally misread these verses. For the key is this, once again. Paul promoted keeping the law. He called the law holy, righteous, and good. Romans 7:12. So then the law is holy, and the commandment is holy, righteous, and good. Paul wrote and thought from a Jewish pro-law perspective, saying we should uphold the law as followers of Yeshua. Romans 3:31. Do we then overthrow the law by this faith? By no means. On the contrary, we uphold the law. So with this in mind, let's take another look at Romans 14. Romans 14 was simply a dispute over eating meat found in the marketplace. Rome was a multicultural city. Thus, some of the meats sold in the marketplace were traced back to pagan sacrifices. When finding this out, some believers chose to go vegetarian to avoid all meats sold in the marketplace. But others believed eating such meats was permissible, not a sin, for they didn't actually partake in the actual sacrifice to idols. This led to a division within the assembly of Rome, the vegetarians judging the meat eaters, and the meat eaters despising the vegetarians. Paul wrote not to divide over this, for it is merely opinion and not a command. If one avoids meat or eats it, both are acceptable, and neither side is sinning. Neither side should judge the other. Paul also addresses this same issue with the Corinthians, explaining that if some meats were connected back to pagan worship, believers should not worry, for idols have no real power. 1 Corinthians 8:4. Therefore, as to the eating of food offered to idols, we know that an idol has no real existence, and that there is no Elohim but one. Paul then says it's fine to eat meat from the marketplace if your conscience allows it. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 25. Eat whatever is sold in the market without raising any question on the ground of conscience. However, his main concern is not to cause a fellow who chose to go vegetarian to stumble. So, if you're a meat eater and you're with a vegetarian to have a meal, just avoid eating meat out of respect and love for your brother. Hallelujah. 1 Corinthians 8, verse 12 and 13. Thus, sinning against your brothers and wounding their conscience when it is weak, you sin against Messiah. Therefore, if food makes my brother stumble, I will never eat meat, lest I make my brother stumble. So in the end, Paul would never promote eating unclean, and Romans 14, verse 1 through 3 has nothing to do with eating abominable foods. I hope this helps clarify Romans 14 from a pro-law perspective. Please share your thoughts below. Thank you, and shalom.